The imperfect begetting by the Logos. The eons have brought themselves forth in accord with the third fruit, by the freedom of the will and by the wisdom with which he favored them for their thought. They do not wish to give honor with that which is from an agreement, though it was produced for words of praise for each of the pleromos. Nor do they wish to give honor with the totality. Nor do they wish to do so with anyone else who is originally above the depth of that one, or above his place, except, however, for the one who exists in an exalted name and in an exalted place, and only if he receives from the one who wish to give honor, and takes it to himself, for the one above him, and only if he begets himself, so to speak, himself, and through that one begets himself, along with that which he is, and himself becomes renewed along with the one who came upon him, by his brother, and sees him, and entreats him about the matter, namely, he who wished to ascend to him. So that might be in this way, the one who wished to give honor does not say anything to him about this, except only that there is a limit to speech set in that pleroma, so that they are silent about the incomprehensibility of the Father, but they speak about the one who wishes to comprehend him. It came to one of the eons that he should attempt to grasp the incomprehensibility and give glory to it, and especially to the ineffability of the Father. Since he is a Logos of the unity, he is one, though he is not from the agreement of the totalities, nor from him who brought them forth, namely, the one who brought forth the totality, the Father. This eon was among those to whom was given wisdom, so that he could become pre-existent in each one's thoughts. By that which he wills, will they be produced. Therefore he received a wise nature in order to examine the hidden basis, since he is a wise fruit. For the free will which was begotten with the totalities was a cause for this one, such as to make him to do what he desired, with no one to restrain him. The intent then of the Logos, who is the one, was good. When he had come forth, he gave glory to the Father, and even if it led to something beyond possibility, since he had wanted to bring forth one who is perfect, from an agreement in which he had not been, and without having the command. This eon was last to have been brought forth by mutual assistance, and he was small in magnitude. And before he begot anything else for the glory of the will, and in agreement with the totalities, he acted magnanimously, from an abundant love, and set out toward that which surrounds the perfect glory. For it was not without the will of the Father that the Logos was produced, which is to say, not without it will he go forth. But he, the Father, had brought him forth for those about whom he knew that it was fitting that they should become into being. The Father and the totalities drew away from him, so that the limit which the Father had set might be established. For it is not from grasping the incomprehensibility, but by the will of the Father. And furthermore they withdrew, so that the things which have come to be might become an organization which would come into being. If it were to come, it would not come into being by the manifestation of the pleroma. Therefore it is not fitting to criticize the movement which is the Logos. But it is fitting that we should say about the movement of the Logos that it is a cause of an organization which has been destined to come about. The Logos himself caused it to happen, being complete and unitary, for the glory of the Father, whom he desired, and he did so, being content with it. But those whom he wished to take hold of firmly he begot in shadows and copies and likenesses. For he was not able to bear the sight of the light, but he looked into the depth, and he doubted. Out of this there was a division. He became deeply troubled, and a turning away because of his self-doubt and division, forgetfulness and ignorance of himself of that which is. His self-exaltation and his expectation of comprehending the incomprehensible became firm for him and was in him. But the sicknesses followed him when he went beyond himself, having come into being from self-doubt, namely from the fact that he did not reach the attainment of the glories of the Father, the one whose exalted status is among things unlimited. This one did not attain him, for he did not receive him. The one whom he himself brought forth as a unitary aeon rushed up to that which is his, and this kin of his is the Pleroma abandoned him, who came to be in the defect along with those who had come forth from him, in an imaginary way, since they are not his. When he who produced himself as perfect actually did bring himself forth, he became weak like a female nature which was abandoned its virile counterpart. From that which was deficient in itself there came those things which came into being from his thought and his arrogance. But from that which is perfect in him he left it and raised himself up to those who are his. He was in the Pleroma as a remembrance for him, so that he would be saved from his arrogance. The one who ran on high, and the one who drew him to himself were not barren, but in bringing forth a fruit in the Pleroma, they upset those who were in the defect. Like the Pleromos are the things which came into being from the arrogant thought, which are there, the Pleromos, likenesses, copies, shadows, and phantasms, lacking reason and light. These which belong to the vain thought, since they are not products of anything. Therefore their end will be like their beginning. From that which did not exist, they are to return once again to that which will not be. It is they, however, by themselves who are greater, more powerful, and more honored than the names which are given to them, which are their shadows. In the manner of a reflection are they beautiful, for the face of the copy normally takes its beauty from that of which it is a copy. They thought of themselves that they are beings existing by themselves, and are without a source, since they do not see anything else existing before them. Therefore they lived in disobedience and acts in rebellion, without having humbled themselves before the one because of whom they came into being. They wanted to command one another, overcoming one another in their vain ambition, while the glory which they possess contains a cause of the system which was to be. They are likenesses of the things which are exalted. They were brought to a lust for power in each one of them, according to the greatness of the name of which each is a shadow, each one imagining that it is superior to his fellows. The thought of these others was not barren, but just like those of which they are shadows. All that they thought about they have as potential sons, those of whom they thought they had as offspring. Therefore it happened that many offsprings came forth from them, as fighters, as warriors, as troublemakers, as apostates. They are disobedient beings, lovers of power. All the other beings of this sort were brought forth from these.